Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name is Tia, and I do videos on a lot of different things, mostly just like lifestyle videos and videos about studying abroad in Paris, and then I do like what I eat in a day and grocery hauls and like follow me around for like vlogs and stuff, so a lot of everything. So if you're interested in any of that, go ahead and subscribe down below. So today it is a really rainy day here in Paris, and I thought that I would film a sit-down video talking about the differences between Sciences Po and UCLA. And since Sciences Po is a university in Europe and UCLA is a college in the States, obviously, I feel like a lot of these differences will apply to general differences between uni in Europe and college in the States, so you can also think of it as comparing and contrasting those as well. So yeah, I've divided this compare and contrast video into three categories. The first category is students. The second category is student life or like social life, and the third is academics. So yeah, let's get into it. Students. So the biggest difference I've found between students at Sciences Po and UCLA is that at Sciences Po, 50% of the students there are international. So it's really easy to speak English there and meet English-speaking people from all over the world. So I have a ton of friends from Germany, a friend from New Zealand, a friend from Sweden, from the UK, yeah, just all over the world. And that's super different from UCLA, where there is a big international population, but it's definitely not 50%. So I feel like at UCLA, I tend to stick with hanging out with people who are from California or from the States. And I do have a few international friends, but they're mostly from Singapore or other Asian countries and not really from Europe. So yeah, the second difference at Sciences Po between the student body is that Sciences Po is a very specialized school. So it's Sciences Po means political science in English, and so a lot of the students there are studying politics or economics or law or international relations. And so the students at Sciences Po are definitely way more politically opinionated than you see in the States. And I'm not saying that UCLA isn't very politically involved, because my friends are very politically active and just a lot of the people that I know at UCLA are, but I find that at Sciences Po, they are more focused on, firstly, like world politics, so they really know what's going on in every country in the world, versus at UCLA, it's definitely more centered around American politics, which makes sense because of all the political drama that we're going through right now. And also, the students at Sciences Po, I think it just feels like they're more politically active because there aren't any pre-meds at Sciences Po and there aren't any like art students at Sciences Po. It's not like an interdisciplinary school at all, so that's why I feel like they're more politically centered. Oh, and the last difference between the students is that at Sciences Po there's like a more formal culture for sure, and so a lot of the students that I'm seeing, especially the French students, dress pretty formally to school. So that means that they're in really nice shoes. They don't wear sandals or sneakers usually. It's winter right now, so they're going to wear their coats and scarves, all the guys and girls, and they just all look really nice, versus at UCLA it's way more casual. I definitely go to school in like Birkenstocks and shorts and a t-shirt, and some people go in PJs during finals week, and it's something that's very casual and chill, and I feel like associated with a very laid-back California vibe that is not present at Sciences Po. So number 2 is student life. So the main difference that I found between schools in Europe and schools in States is pretty obvious, and that is that the drinking age is 18 in Europe and 21 in the States, which means that schools in Europe don't really care if you drink or not. In fact, during the first week of Welcome Week at Sciences Po, they facilitated bar events and a wine and cheese night where they had discounted alcohol for us, and at the wine and cheese night they even just provided free wine and free cheese for a few hours for us to get to know each other, which was really nice. And I feel like it creates a culture that doesn't abuse alcohol as much as they do in the States, because it is so prohibited and so against the rules at UCLA. People definitely try really hard to kind of go around those rules and as a result maybe abuse them. I'm not really sure what the statistics are on that, but I just really prefer the laid back drinking culture because there's no pressure to drink, but there's no pressure not to drink. So yeah, it's just a better situation because teenagers are gonna do it anyways. So the second difference that I noticed in terms of student culture is that there aren't any frats or sororities at all in any European schools or unis. So in the States, sororities and fraternities are a huge thing, and I found talking to people that it is, if you didn't know this already, it is actually only a United States thing, or an American thing. So whenever I talk about fraternities and sororities with my friends from other countries, they always end up asking me tons of questions about it because it is something that they've never experienced and something that they only see in movies. So they're asking me like, are all the stereotypes true and all these things. It's really funny and pretty interesting that they don't have any culture like that in unis in Europe. So yeah, that was a pretty big change because UCLA has such a has a Greek culture with such a large presence on campus. So it's been nice to kind of get away from that since I'm not involved in that community. And yeah, it's just interesting how different those uni cultures are. There's no like partying on campus, apartment parties. You really just go to bars and kind of figure it out on your own. So aside from partying, there's also a different like during the day, school life kind of quality of life. The cafeterias on campus at Sciences Po are way cheaper than anything you'll ever find in the States. So you can get a 3-course meal with like a main, a side, and a dessert and like a soup or something for €3 at the cafeteria at Sciences Po versus I've worked at cafes at UCLA and we sell sandwiches for upwards of like 7, 8, up to $10, which is affordable, like more affordable than some sandwiches that you're going to get around LA, but definitely not the most student-friendly budget foods. So yeah, and you can get sandwiches at Sciences Po for like €2. It's pretty crazy. Every day I get a 60-cent espresso. So that has not helped my coffee addiction, but it's just really cool how they kind of really understand that you're struggling students and really cater to that. Yeah, I think that's it for social life, but if you do have any more questions, because I know that it's kind of a topic that maybe a lot of you are curious about if you are studying abroad, definitely leave them in the comment section below. And then number 3 is academics. So the first thing I would say, the first difference is that the grading scale is completely different. Sciences Po grades on and I think all schools in France grade on a 20-point scale. So you get a grade out of 20 and no one gets 20, 19, 18, and I think a 17 is even really rare. 16 is considered an A, I think, and then even for UCLA, when they do the grade translation, a 14 is still an A for UCLA out of 20 when they kind of transfer your grade back. And yeah, it's a lot harder to get a higher grade at Sciences Po. I think they grade really strict versus at UCLA. I think A's, depending on the class, like A's, A minuses, and B pluses are generally pretty, well, I don't want to say this for all majors because I know a lot of my friends who are studying in science and math really struggle because the curve is so huge and no one really gets A's, but as far as social sciences at UCLA go, B pluses and A's are pretty standard if you just work really hard and talk to your professor. So yeah, that's another difference between Sciences Po and UCLA is that the relationships with your professors are pretty much non-existent at Sciences Po. They don't hold office hours and they're not required to. They don't really talk to the students. In fact, at the beginning of each semester, they designate one student who you're supposed to go to if you have any questions to the professor, and then they'll relay that message to the professor. So it's a very distant relationship. They're not really there to help you out or hold your hand at all. It's kind of like they show up every class, they spew some knowledge at you, and you're supposed to take that knowledge and do with it what you will. So at UCLA, it's really different. The teachers are required to have office hours, and you can ask them questions during class or through email. They're very accessible. So I don't know. I think I do prefer the UCLA professor-student relationships just because it's really nice being able to have a mentor or have that option at least to ask questions and kind of delve in deeper one-on-one with the professor, versus that's definitely not something that's done in French culture or at Sciences Po. Some cool things about the Sciences Po academic system, though, are that they do exposés, so instead of a lot of tests and essays, you do group presentations or just individual presentations, which I think is really cool and definitely prepares you for public speaking in the future. So I think it produces really well-spoken students and students who are able to think on their feet and are really eloquent, as I say very ineloquently, but yeah, I like the presentation aspect of it. And also at Sciences Po, we don't have any homework, which I feel like in university, both in the States and in Europe, you don't really have that much homework, but at Sciences Po, you definitely don't have any. Like, you have some readings, but you're not really expected to do them all that much, and you just kind of show up once a day. Yeah, I only have class once a day for once a week for each class, sorry, and then I actually only have class on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, which is so nice because then I have a 4-day weekend, but that's also something that you can maneuver in the States if you kind of plan your classes really well. So yeah, I think that's all the differences that I had written down in my notes over there, but if you do have any more questions about Sciences Po, uni abroad, or uni in the States, definitely leave them in the comment section below. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!